I call Tom Arthur, last speaker in the open debate.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. I want to begin by thanking the Government and the Minister for bringing forward this debate today, and to also recognise the many excellent contributions from across the chamber as I rise to be the last backbencher to speak. It's been a very interesting debate, and I think it's captured really two of the broad areas. One that is about what we can practically implement to reduce and tackle isolation and loneliness, but also the broader cultural response we need to ultimately intervene early and to mitigate loneliness when it occurs, and to reflect upon how our society perhaps creates environments where loneliness and social isolation can take place that will not necessarily be solvable in 1 year with one strategy in the term of a parliament, but a desire to do so should inform our longer-term thinking. But I would like to begin by just highlighting some of the outstanding work that goes on within my own constituency of Renfrewshire South. Renfrewshire is, of course, home to the outstanding Reaching Older Adults in Renfrewshire, who do fantastic work across the local authority. And I was pleased to meet with a representative of them late last year to hear about some of their pioneering work, particularly around reducing falls in older people. Much of this has been pioneered through the Otago classes. This was a form of light exercise developed at the University of Otago in New Zealand, in their medical school, and it's specifically designed, as I say, to help prevent falls in older people, but it also has that beneficial effect of creating an opportunity for older people to come together and to socialise. And they have health and wellbeing clubs across Renfrewshire, including in Eldersley, my constituency, at Linwood Health Centre and at the MacKillop Institute in Lochwinnock as well. Lochwinnock is also the home to some fantastic pioneering efforts as well. There is a brilliant Lochwinnock Elderly Forum led by the indefatigable Anne Nichol. It's always a highlight of the year to attend their St Andrews lunch. And they are a group who provide a great and a very much treasured resource for many older people across Lochwinnock and help to tackle isolation and loneliness. And they do not just keep themselves to themselves, they work with the Community Council, and they also work with the Dementia Friendly Village, having bi-monthly tea dances, of which I have had the pleasure of attending, though I have been told that my slosh leaves much to desire, and I've got a long way to go to match my constituency colleague Mary Black in that, but I am working on it, and I'm sure if the Minister has an opportunity to come along, maybe we can try and do a dance together, as long as it's not the slosh. I'd obviously want to mention as well some of the other community groups within the constituency, the Old Kilbarcan Library. They provide a fantastic hub, but there's one I'm really looking forward to mention, and that is the Barrhead Men's Shed, who of course in page 36 of this strategy get a mention, and their fantastic chairman Alex Story. I've had an engagement with the Men's Shed in Barrhead since really now for over the last 18 months to 2 years, and I've been very pleased to be able to help them in some specific matters relating to their premises. But it was a great pleasure to meet Alex again. He didn't remember me, but I had remembered him from when I was 5 or 6 years old. And he is someone who has taken his skills and his leadership attributes and has applied it to, as chairman of the Barrhead Men's Shed, to creating a resource which is much valued by both men and women across Barrhead. And they recently celebrated their 5th birthday, and I'm very much looking forward to tabling a motion for members' debate to recognise that and the Men's Shed movement more broadly, and I hope when that motion appears on the business bulletin that it will secure cross-party support where we can all celebrate the fantastic work that Men's Sheds do in communities across Scotland and in particular in tackling loneliness and isolation. And I think the words of Alex Story are well worth sharing. He said that our members are proud and delighted to help the local community, schools and nurseries and retirement homes, but most importantly take time to share, help and listen to our members who are living in social isolation. As one of our widowed members said, loneliness is a disease. Let's all help to eradicate this disease in our society. And having spoken with members of the Men's Shed, the impact that it has upon them is clearly profound. For many would say that they did not know what they would be doing if they did not have that resource there. Some say it would be either going to the pub or sitting at home watching television. And these personal testaments are incredibly powerful and underline the case why we have to continue to support the Men's Shed movement, something that I'm glad that the Scottish Government is committed to continue doing. Mark Griffin, who I co-chair the Carer CPG with, right to highlight the fact that 8 out of 10 carers report feeling loneliness or socially isolated. Now, clearly the government has taken positive action around the Carers Act, but we know there's more we can do. One area which I think is incredibly important is the Carer Positive Employer Scheme, of which I secured a members' debate last year, and I would again encourage members to take this up. This is about promoting positive employment practices which allow carers to continue in work. We know that a very powerful and effective way of tackling isolation and loneliness is to be in employment with the professional and personal relationships that we can form in the workplace. So clearly it is imperative, as we move from 700,000 over to over 1 million people who will be caring and work responsibilities in Scotland over the coming decades, that all employers, large and small, do all that they can to make sure that their workplace environments support carers so that carers can stay in employment. Just before closing, Presiding Officer, I think there's been many well-made points regarding digital isolation. And the two species, there is digital isolation from perhaps not being connected and being able to gain access to the internet, but there's also digital saturation, where our lives become entirely mediated through the forums of social media, be that Twitter or Facebook. And these very artificial relationships that we can consequently form can have a damaging and negative effect, something that's been highlighted. But again, in conclusion, Presiding Officer, I would just like to thank the Government for bringing forward this debate, and I look forward to seeing its implementation over the coming months and years. Thank you.
Thank you.